off the record thing. I would prefer for this not to be put in writing, but I ended up, there was this like young prop master on the movie I just did, and I ended up having to fire her, and it was really upsetting and unfortunate because she was like young and like eager, and she had some things she needed to work on in terms of like being on a crew, but she was like great. And even when she'd like fuck a bunch of stuff up, I was her like biggest cheerleader, and I would like defend her to the director, to the DP, to everyone in all these different departments. But there was like one day I got like, and it was like one of these moments where I like spoke to someone in a way I wasn't proud of, and I like got really like stern with her on set because she messed up something that was like really big and really obvious, like didn't greet the logo on the hero prop, and so like half a scene was completely like unusable unless I like paid for a ton of post for this hero prop. And I got stern with her, and she got really upset because I got stern with her in front of other crew and some cast. And she came into my office later and screamed at me at the top of her lungs about it. And I had to fire her because she wouldn't come down from the screaming. And I was like, I am your, like, we're the same age, but I am like your boss, and you can't really like be on my set and speak to me this way and like try to one up however I made you feel. And it took a lot out of me to like not apologize to her for my part in it, because though I felt partly accountable, I was just like, I don't like owe this person an apology for them. Like, if you go into a producer's office and scream at them about your issues and won't stop screaming, like, you're going to get asked to leave a production. Like, that's what happens. And it really like took me like holding my stomach down to like not apologize in that moment for just like nothing at all, you know? And it's just like I have like one friend in particular who's a female director who I literally every time we hang out, we have this conversation about like women in film saying they're sorry. So there's like, I just like couldn't agree with you more. Like it is just this like thing that's drilled into us. Doesn't matter how big or small, that we're like supposed to be sorry, and like that's the thing that like gets us through. Whereas like we shouldn't really be sorry for anything unless we like cause an actual problem. You know, it's like,
right.
It's just really, it is so, I don't know the answer to it, but it is just so crazy. Like across the board, every woman I know has this issue. From like, you know, the most like outspoken to the most like demure are like so deeply like in the game of I'm sorry. I don't really know what it is.
I'm sure part of it is like the survivalist of maybe there's this biological mechanism of not wanting to be seen as a threat, and therefore able to continue to move forward, because if you're seen as a threat, then you can feel like you have a target on your back. But this goes back to when you're saying, like, you said a while back, like, how do you protect yourself? And this is a theme that was talked about recently at a Film Independent panel, is how, when you're protecting the film so much, how do you protect yourself? And being a female in this space, I'm curious if you ever feel like, when you ask this question of, would you treat me this way if I was a 40-year-old white man, right? Do you ever feel like there's a role that you have to play, or do you ever feel like you have to almost like put on a producer part, or is there ever a part of it where you're like, yes, I'm Lizzie, but in this moment, I feel like I need to almost embody someone else in order to get what I need done?
Yeah.
Or in order to almost like feel like there's a barrier between, like as a protection mechanism of like, of protecting you, but also protecting the film and protecting what needs to be done.
Yeah, like 100%. You have to be all these different people, and you have to like, there's definitely a separation. I bring a lot of myself to what I do, of course, because like you can't be in a position like this without empathy. But definitely when like you're dealing with an issue, whether it be with like a director, a financier, your editor, a crew member, whoever it may be, like when you're talking to that person, like the first thing I ask myself is like, who does this person need me to be right now? You know, do they need like a therapist? Do they need a stern mom? Do they just need someone to like tell them the thing they've already heard 1,000 times? Like what does this person need from me? And you do to some extent like take yourself out of that equation. You take out your own needs because you're focusing on like what that person needs from you. And I think that like I'm good at filling that role. It doesn't really bother me to take myself out of it, but like over time it definitely wears away at you. It's like death by 1,000 paper cuts, more so than it is like, I feel the pain because I had to like support someone today. So I think that like producing will always take that. Like you always need to like play a bunch of different people, you know, like you yourself are like one whole Shakespeare cast. But it's just like about checking in with yourself, you know. I have a pretty like strong inner monologue. So I'm just like always checking in with my inner monologue and like having releases for yourself that are healthy enough, that allow you space to like not have to be something for somebody else for a little while. There isn't like a great answer. It's just like really hard, and it's just a lot. It just is like a lot of checking in. Just a lot. I'm also just starting to learn like what pace I can go at. You know, I took on like a lot of movies during the pandemic, and they're all going, which is like so awesome. I couldn't be happier to have all these films going into production. But I'm finding myself in this pace of like, okay, I'm in prep on something for 6 weeks, and then I'm shooting for 4 or 5 weeks, and then I get to be home for 4 weeks, and then I'm back. And I'm like, that's not a pace I can like maintain past this year, you know. I'm leaving for my next movie at the end of this month, and I'm just like starting to feel like I have whiplash. So it's just learning about like your pace, your needs, also like what actually is fulfilling to you out of the whole thing. Shiva Baby changed a lot of my perspective about what's fulfilling to me. And I thought that I just like really wanted to do like oddball art house movies. And what Shiva Baby showed me is like how powerful it is when a large group of people connects to your work. So I found that I'm like I want to do really meaningful work, but I want to do meaningful work that really like connects with people on a larger scale. So I'm like, what does that mean for me now? And it's just about like how you spend your energy and what's creatively and financially and all these things fulfilling you, so that when you have to put on all these different hats, you don't feel used up at the end. You feel like there's still someone looking out for you, and it's just the answer is that person's you know. For everyone else, it's the producer supposed to be looking out for them, but for the producer, it's like you're just the one looking out for yourself as well.
Gosh, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. And that wraps it up so perfectly. I mean, just to kind of tie this in a bow, something that I wanted to hear your thoughts on that you just touched on so eloquently. When you were talking at the panel recently, you said that you felt like the future of independent filmmaking is uncertain right now. And that's such a huge part of the dialogue. But what I would like to bring it home on today is we're in this field where it feels like we're in a cave and we can only see as far as the flashlight, right? And so I just want to bring it down to the flashlight for you. What are the things, sure, on a broader scope level, we don't know what the future looks like, and we're trying to shape it as best we can. But for you, with you and the flashlight shining ahead of you, what are the things that you're focusing on so that you can keep going down this cave of the unknown?
I think that I'm just trying to embrace change as it comes and continuing to adapt. Like technology, like film is so funny because it's such an artistic medium that has all of this history, yet it's so ever-changing and based in the technology that's like changing around us all the time. And I think some producers feel really at odds with that, that it's like this like changing digital space we work in is like at odds with the arts they're trying to create. And I think when you start to lean into how everything can really work together, and there's like in a lot of ways there's like so much hope for indie film. There's all of these like creative ways people are starting to